Alright, so I got the heater going, so it's a little bit noisy, but I'm not freezing, so there's that. So what I'm hoping in this next video, we're going to get the doors welded shut, reinforce the body, full gas tank, floors cut, measure, trim, and get everything started for fitment. So, zoom out a little bit here. Forgot to get rid of some of this scrap, and I forgot the shop vac at home. So what I'm going to do is basically just get all this electrical crap pulled out of here. So I've just got a blank slate back here. Let me get these doors, you know, start welding them shut, pull the side skirts, do that kind of stuff. Reinforcing the body. What I plan to do is the tailgate is going to be, I originally said, oh, I'm going to have it fixed and not come off. But I don't like that idea, because if you're doing any work on the motor back here, you've got to go over that. So if it can come off, you'd have access to it. But I want it to be really rigid, not just clip on there. So what I'm thinking is my reinforcement will be, you know, basically like a roll cage style tubing going around. And then over here, following this side as well. You know, maybe crossing there, get it to go up and over here. And what I'm thinking is once I get back here, maybe I'll weld a plate out of it. So then the tailgate, once it's on, you can bolt it, but the tailgate will have a cross piece going X'd on it as well, and that's where it will bolt. That way when it's together, it's really rigid, but all you'd have to do is just unbolt it and it'll come right off. Same will go for after all of this stuff is in and fitted. Off of this little roll cagey reinforcement crap, I'll have a plate in each corner where I'll be able to put some cross bracing in that will also bolt and unbolt. That way, you know, we've got our rigidity and everything, but it can come off so we can still get access to everything. God forbid that motor doesn't turn out and you gotta pull it. I don't want it to be a pain in the butt. But that's where I'm at. Once again, guys, this is some piddly crap you aren't gonna watch, so I'm just gonna do it off cam, come back, update you, and go from there. Okay, so something else I had taken into consideration for the tailgate being removable that I forgot to mention is if you ever have to pull your taillights out, if this is fixed, I mean, it's not ever coming out. So that kind of led me to a realization here. This wiring is not coming out because it's all of our taillight wiring. So, done. You know, I can pull the door wiring, that's about it. So, I'm gonna get to grinding and start on some doors. Okay, so quick update. Got everything vacuumed out on here. Got the gas tank pulled out. I just literally just now just pulled the top nuts off those. So underneath, I'm gonna be able to pull our little shock out there. And I think all of this stuff can stay just for now because it bolts so low that none of that's going to get messed with. Measured its widest point from this lip to the other side of the lip is 58 inches. So the plan would be to trim it here down. And 58 inches actually puts us, see if I can get straight above this, to this lip here on each side. So basically I'd trim out this inner portion, which obviously is going to include this. And I don't think, I'm not for sure, but I don't think we're going to have to go past here. So the first cut and measure would be there, and then probably, oh shoot, maybe I will need to tear into that. Dang it. I'll have to do some more measuring. But, you know, we're going to cut this portion out here and basically just do slow segments of working in and seeing what needs to get pulled. Once I get all this stuff cut, then I think I'll pull the stuff that's underneath. It's just, without a lift, it's kind of annoying being under there. So if I can pull this top stuff and then just do that and then slowly trim out, I'd rather do that. So I think the doors honestly will be fine. I don't think they'll have to be trimmed. This tapers in. So here's 58. And by the time you hit here, it was like 55 or something. So I think by the time that you'd get up to here, I think you'd be fine. But that's kind of the update. Might throw it on some time lapse for some of the cutting, but I want to be a little bit more confident of where I'm cutting before I do that. So I'm going to go back to some measuring and then go from there. Okay, so I remember the reason I thought I did not have to cut that out right away. And now I remember. This is 58 at its top. It does not obviously do that the whole way down. It curves in, which means basically 58 inches only needs to be the top part of it cut out. And then the bottom part just needs to be wherever to allow this stuff to set in. So I think if I do 58 to these wheel wells, or, you know, 58 out there, then the wheel wells, and then basically just this floor, I think I'll be good. I don't think I'll need to go any lower down there. So if I just do along this and up to that, I'll be fine, which means that this stuff under there that's currently sitting right there is going to be safe. So that's where my train of thought was. So we got the floor portion cut out and was a bit optimistic, hoping that we'd be able to, you know, only go up to this bracing. Frame rails are underneath this one. I was hoping we could keep that stuff. It's 35 inches from there to there. And this is going to end up getting cut off right there. So the narrowest point, or sorry, the widest point from there, opposite side, is 44.5 inches. Which basically puts us about the start of the wheel wells, which is, you know, in that, I guess not frame, but unibody, whatever you want to call it. So the plan now is to take that cut right here and go all the way up to the edge there, follow it all the way back. All the wheel well is getting cut out. I already knew that was going to happen, but I was hoping we'd be able to do the bottom part different. And then bring it across there as well. It's not a big deal because this has our cross bracing, which will replace the one that we're taking out there. It didn't have anything in the back anyways, but we will end up doing something, obviously. And then it's got all of this apron and all of that, so we should be able to tie that in and have a lot of rigidity back here. I'm not worried about coming up with the structural support. I'm just a little bummed that I've got to use like 10 blades trying to cut through all this crap. So this might go back up and just pull all this out now. It's kind of redundant to have under there at this point. Maybe get it on jack stand so we can actually see underneath there. There was a point where I was cutting here and I was like, I don't know what I'm cutting through. And Drake's like, I'd crawl under there, but right now you have, my shoe can fit under there. I cannot move it up and down. So, you know, stance life and everything looks cool, but not very functional to work on. So might get up on jack stands so we can actually see underneath there while trying to get some of this other stuff cut out and worked around. But kind of an update on where that all sits. Yeah, probably gonna do a little bit more measuring, a little bit more cutting. Yo, Bosch, sponsor me please, because these are the best freaking saw blades I've ever used. They're freaking wild. But cool. Back at it. So I'm gonna start off just by saying, you know, like the floor's cut out, all the rear is gone, all that stuff. And then just kind of wanted to point out, guys, this is uncharted territory. There's a lot of plan changes and everything. So, you know, when I first started off, I had a plan over there and I said what the order of operations was gonna be and everything. That keeps changing. The plan itself keeps changing. A lot of things. I mean, obviously the whole, this going in there is still a plan, but as far as where I'm going to cut and that kind of stuff keeps changing. So the newest update is the plan is to cut up to there, go across and follow that line. I think that's what we had said before. But did some measuring and realized, Drake had pointed out, you know, is there a point of keeping just half this box, or why not just cut, you know, further in as long as we keep all that stuff? So with a little bit of measuring, realized from here to the same side on that side is like 54.5 inches or something, which puts us like from here to the same on the other. And then that would mean that we don't have to cut out and have to build in a fake wall there. We'll be able to go to this with that and then build our own structural support from there. The other thing is I'm gonna trim off this stuff of the front, because if we go, again, originally the plan was to cut back here, but I realized why it's kind of pointless, because right here, rough measurements, I mean, this isn't fine-tuned or anything, but it seems like with wheel arches centered, it should go right up to that cross piece there that we had planned on keeping. So again, it's not definitive until we actually get to start fitting, but I think that that's a better plan, to trim off all that stuff and just be able to butt that up close rather than cutting that off. We're really not gaining anything by cutting that off. So what I'm hoping to do before the end of the day here is get a cut that's basically going to be from here straight back, because this, you know, I'm going to be dramatic, it goes wide like that. I think it was like 55 inches back there and like 53 or something up here, I can't remember, but it does get wider. So if we just go here and just make it straight, we'll be able to go in here and follow it straight, and then just be able to get our welds up on top there and finish up all of our other bracing. So I'm hopefully going to be able to get that done. That I'm not too worried about. It's this side that I'm a little bit worried about, because I've got to go through all the structural support and then follow all this up and do it back there, and same on this side. That might take some more time, and it's getting towards the end of the day here. But there's the update. I'm sorry, guys, that I keep changing my plans here, but like I said, I don't have anything to go off of except for what just makes sense in my mind. So sometimes that changes, but that's where I'm currently at. And honestly, overall, so far, I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. So hopefully it keeps going that way. Check this out, guys. I came down to Polish to get my steel, and noticed they had Dodge Dakota sitting there, which is exactly what I need for the bed rails. So asked Steve what he's doing with it. He's scrapping it, So he's like, yeah, just cut the bed rails off and remember us next time. So there's the information if you're in the area. One guy was actually here buying steel from 4 hours away, so he said they're the best deal. So that's what I'm saying. Go to them. So back from Polish, it's actually been a couple days since I got back, but I haven't been able to work out here. I got my other guys did all the pipe for me, bent that top piece, got some other pipe, and then got our notches cut out and everything. So this is going to be the piece that goes in the back that we had talked about. It'll go up and around. I've got the one piece to go across there. I'm still going to do the X. I just haven't gotten that steel yet. I'm going to bring my bracing back, and then it will also go X'd on the tailgate. That part, I've got a couple different ideas, so I'm not entirely sure right off the top of my head how that's going to work. And then I'm also going to do more or less like a gusset plate off there, and then I'll have an X brace that'll go across there. That one will be removable. That way, if you need to get underneath there, you'll be able to work on the engine easily, so it'll bolt in and whatnot. But yeah, that's there. Bed rails are cut off and everything. Top of the tailgate. I'm very excited about all that stuff. So I'm going to set you guys up. I'm going to get the heater on. It is stupid cold in here. Put you on some time lapse and get to welding. All right, so I've got all of the floor cut out, the frame rails, the wheel tubs, everything back here to clear space for our donor to come in here. I've got this cross braced right now. I don't think that that's gonna be exactly what I want to drop my actual bracing down come time. So that'll probably just get cut and used as scrap metal. I'll rebuild a new one that'll actually fit exactly the way I want, because this is just welded to the top of these rails. I don't have anything capped up there yet, but it works for my bracing. So I've got some 1x3 that I'm gonna run across here for structural support. I've got another one that I could run back here, but I didn't cut anything out back there. So I think what's already back there from the factory should suffice. I'll just have to clean things up, obviously. Now this has a cross brace there and there, and then I've got all this stuff to be my replacement for the rails that got cut out. The measurement that I had went off of from inside door to inside door was 55 inches. So that's what I had cut these aprons out on the donor for. The problem that I didn't realize is with it coming, it tapers in from there to there is 51 and a half. So I can't squeeze that up. So what I ended up having to do is I trimmed out there and same on that side. And I'm hoping that that's enough to allow this to sit down. And then, you know, I'll just have to fill in that because I'd like all of that contact point up around there if possible. So I went and I got a winch here. This is the most crude setup, and I realized a lot better way to do it, but you know, I'm already here and doing it. So I can just winch up and down, which is just super slick. Except, like I said, this spot here. I have a better way I'll fix later. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think I've got everything to at least test fit. Everything's marked out with my center on here, the other side, on the car. Everything's got its center marks, so it'll be lined up. I just got to get it pushed in, get that stuff to line up, and then see if I can winch this down. And that's kind of going to be my next step here that I'm going to go for. I'm going to see how much I can do by myself. I might need a second set of hands. We'll see. But there you have it. I'm gonna get you set up and see if I can make magic happen. Okay, so a little update break from the time lapse so I can kind of explain what's going on. I got this front section here cut out. The sides probably a little bit more than I needed to there. The front, that gap is intentional because I've got my Hardy, see if I can lift it one-handed. That'll slide in and get welded there and bridge that gap. So that's good. The thing that's stopping us from going any lower at this point is this just needs to get notched out more on the actual donor part of it. Because this part, I don't want to get into this. I want to leave as much of this as possible. So we're going to run a line here, both sides, winch it back up, cut that, and then see if it'll drop down. But it is so freaking close to fitting right now. Honestly, I think that's the only other thing really. And then just make sure our height sits where it needs to and go from there. But I think we're close. So let's get it back up and get cutting. Okay, so after a lot of fiddling around, trimming and stuff like that to get this stuff to fit in there, it fits. Measured, and it seems like everything's square, everything's centered. Wheel will be centered in the wheel arch. This will be tacked in and at least be able to be on its own and no longer needing jack stands and jacks and everything else. But after that, it'll be on to the reinforcing the body, which I'll have to run down and get more steel for. So I'm gonna get to cleaning up some tacks and stuff and yeah, see where we go from there. All right guys, there it is. It is welded in. I'll take you up close and personal here in a second, but I just want to show you so you can get on, jump, and it's super stiff. So one thing that I hadn't really thought about when doing that is that how much my springs were gonna compress. So that's one thing that I kind of miscalculated on there. Don't have a lot of wheel gap here. Isn't really a big deal. I knew that also the track width was a little bit wider. I am hoping, no guarantees, but I want to build like a wide body for this. And if so, I'd really like to put in a functional scoop for radiator and the other side functional scoop for FMIC. Again, don't know how realistic that is. All of this can be fixed with different suspension, different wheels and tires, which both were planned anyways. So here it is currently. I will end up doing another brace. I can't get my shredded glove off here. I'll end up doing another brace from here over, same on that side. But I've just got those two for now. That has to get welded so the wheels don't turn, and then this thing needs an alignment, something fierce. Because I had this side straight and the other side was like in quite a bit that way. So that, I've got this bar going across and welded to our basically bumper mounts there. And then I've got the factory little braces there back in welded to this bar, bolted in, welded up there as well. Then nothing on the side yet, but what will happen is once this goes in permanently, gets its cross bracing, and have all that tubing run back, I'll run another brace from there over to the top of this, and probably an additional one underneath there, coming over to the door sill here. So I'll have the one there, the cross up here. We've got our body bracing there. It'll come over, it'll cross in the back here. This can now get cut back out because this, oh, maybe not. Never mind. I still have to do this stuff. After this stuff's in, I'll cut this back out. But I think that's probably going to do it for part 2. Part 3, I've got to come up with my list, but it'll be a little bit before I can get back at it anyways. But there you have it, coming along pretty well, all things considered.